All right, how's it going, everyone? How's it going? How's it going? All right. It is really exciting, a little bit hectic a bit, but it was actually really nice to be able to get back into streaming today. I'm hoping to maybe start trying to do maybe a couple more days, but I'll still kind of stick around with the 2-day schedule for now. It has been a very eventful week. I can't wait for it to be over. But yeah, I got a ton of stuff from the Steam sale before it was over. At least like 3 different Tales games because they were like dirt cheap. I wanted to get Final Fantasy X, like the 10 and 10 2 like one, and then as an impulse buy, I got like a Monster Hunter, or a Monster Hunter Rise, but I'm not sure if what's it called. I'm going to be playing as many of those. I'm hoping that I can. If anyone has any like requests or anything that they want to see out of it, I would be perfectly happy to get started on going with it. But I'm still kind of figuring things out. I'm not sure if I want to do a lot of more RPGs or like stick with things like fighting games or visual novels. Because I like all three of those. I think it's just being able to find something that I know people are going to want me to do. It can be kind of difficult sometimes being able to predict it, but I'm hoping that I'll be able to, get that ball rolling. I've been tempted to, like, I'm just throwing ideas at the wall, like, hoping that something will stick, because, like, I was tempted on trying to get started with, like, FF14 or trying to stream Fire Emblem Engage, but I don't even know when I would do that, whether it be using the model or not. But since I am just kind of rolling with this, I'm just going to kind of jump right into the game. I think that I've spent more than enough time just kind of like, I'll probably have more to say on Sunday because, Thursday there's still that kind of like just sort of growing pains of having to do things like just kind of wind down from the workday. It's a little tricky, but I'm trying to make it work. Let's turn this bad boy on. There we go. Now we got music. Alright. Sorry, let me get some water going. I got my water going. I got some honey ginger tea. I'm feeling nice. I feel like it's been a while since I've really just kind of like started out the gate and put on a lot more of a cutesier voice. I find that sometimes when I start a stream, I'm like, hey guys, how's it going? They're like, oh, look at that. Oh, wow. Oh, man. But, like, I'm just starting out. I'm like, oh, yeah. This is a good feeling. I can feel this. Hopefully we're going to get to the trial soon. Because previously, we have been looking at these two. This guy happens to own like the little mini apartment place that what's his name, Natsume, like is kind of hanging out at. But because of some possible infidelity, there's a bit of a wondering as to whether Mr. Garadeb is being honest about his involvement. Yeah, because what's it called? There's our detective. Here's the dude that we're trying to free from attempted murder charges. This is Herlock Sholmes. He is a detective that also helps out, and this is his assistant. And then these two are the people that we're interrogating at the moment. And currently they're having a conversation about a book that has a love letter stuck in it. Luckily, there's a jolly good old second-hand bookshop just around the corner. Buy all my old novels there. And in the pages of one particular novel, you discovered some rather illicit material. For which your wife admonished you harshly, it seems. Don't know about admonished. Demolished might be rather close to the mark, especially my bollocks. And Beast is most Here we go again. Here we go again. And the carpet. That was destroyed by a fire when the candle fell on the floor, right? Great to say it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know. The whole place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bally thing. I was caught between an old stick's rage and a raging flames. You paint a torrid picture, sir. One that would have been most certainly entertaining. That's sympathy for you. Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. The bally furniture started going up as well. We had to hide the mess behind the scene for the time being. Over there, Mr. Garrett. Well, you have nothing more to hide now. If you allowed me. Had all my favorite old novels in that case. But soon as the fire got hold of them, that was, whoosh, up in smoke. Gosh. Then the wife started hurling things at me. What a terrible sight it must have been. There was I, back against the window under heavy enemy fire. Incendiary books, incoming 10 to the dozen. Worst of it, I lost my favorite. A book called The Lion's Pride. The Lion's Pride. Ah yes, your notorious love for big cats coming through again, you filthy furry. I assure you, the title didn't influence my choice in the slightest. My fursuit is already so matted. I haven't used it in a decade. So the poor man really did lose something dear to him as a result of the rampage. His prized fursuit. Mr. Shome's deductions turned out to be correct once again. It can only be described as a great British wonder. I tell you, it is total carnage! Flames everywhere and the old stick in the full fettle. Out of interest, what time of day was it? Not sure I can remember. It was 2 days ago. Let's see. Around 5 o'clock, I think. So at exactly the same time as the terrifying incident was unfolding outside the window at the street below. Even more terrifying on the inside, I can assure you. The whole of Blighty could have been flattened outside my window at the moment, and I wouldn't have noticed a dashed thing. Oh? Really? Mr. Shelms? Yes, Mr. Naruhodo. What can I do for you? Well, I think we've got to get to the bottom of Mr. Garrett's situation now. But what does it have to do with Mr. Natsume's circumstances? I can't help you there, I'm afraid. What? My dear fellow, if you can recall, I did say as much from the outset. I warned you that although I knew the retired armyman to be hiding something, I cannot be sure whether the secret would prove to be of relevance or not. I just knew you were going to say that. Now, Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't lose heart. Bear in mind that all things fall into 2 categories, those relevant to the case and those not. That makes no sense to me. Well, no matter. It is of far greater importance that you make up your minds now. Sorry? Visiting hours at the prison will soon be over. Oh no. Is it that time already? If we're to accept Mr. Natsume's case, we have official paperwork to attend to. So that's it. No more time to think.
Perhaps you'd like to protect yourselves to buy time. Bid us farewell now. I must prepare supper for Mr. Garrett.
Oh yes. I'm sorry.
Thank you both very much for your time.
Soseki-san will be waiting for us. And I'm going to have to give him an answer. Alright, let's go to Prison. Oh damn, getting stopped in the middle of the road. It's time, Mr. Naruhodo. We must hurry back to prison. Yes, I know. Let's hail a cat. Oh.
What's the matter?
It looks like something's going on there in front of Mr. Garredeb's house.
I know thee not, old man. Fall to thy prayers. Who you calling old man, you rum-looking nimky-pinky?
No, it's more about...
There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt in your philosophy.
Who's this Horatio fella? What are you on about?
Excuse me.
What the? Who are you now?
I'm sorry, it just looked as though there might have been some problems here. And my associate here, Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, is a lawyer, you see.
A lawyer? What?
If I can be of any assistance, I'd be happy to help. I'm from Japan, but I studied English law.
Fine, I'll be on my way now. But you mark my words. This ain't over yet.
Get thee to a nunnery.
Do I look like a blooming nun to you?
I do hope you're not injured.
O fair Eastern maiden, thou art so gentle. Thank you.
What was that about?
There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt in your philosophy.
I'm not Horatio either. Forgive the inquiry, sir, but are you a lodger here? In the Garredeb's residence?
O fair Eastern maiden, thou art so right. Yes, I do dwell in this humble abode.
Mr. Garredeb did mention he had another lodger, didn't he? This must be the man. Do you happen to know the other lodger who lives on the first floor?
Ah, yes, a gentleman named Natsume. Oh, more worthy a polemist in the battle of words ne'er could there be.
Sorry, battle. Battle, did you say?
Who is the stronger, Hamlet or Macbeth? Mr. Natsume and I sparred long into the night, entangled in one's bodies in the nude. It was a very rough and vigorous debate.
I see. Kinky. I don't fully understand, but it seems Mr. Natsume and this gentleman are acquaintances at least.
So fair maiden, so good gentleman, I can tarry here no longer. Fare thee well.
I didn't really understand him, but I think he returned to his room. It seems he's unaware of what happened to Mr. Natsume, so he can't really help us. With Soseki-san and the man as lodgers, the Garredev house is certainly full of eccentrics. Anyway, I'll go find the carriage. I see two fancy twinks on the screen. Hi Kirby, how's it going? I am, what's it called? Currently almost done with the investigation period. of trying to clear Soseki Natsume's name. What's it called? Clearing this guy's name. Someone said that he stabbed somebody, but I don't think he did. Yes, I'm sure Mr. Natsume is eagerly awaiting our return. Let's hope we can get to the prison before visiting hours are over. I didn't know this was a real dude. I was looking up Soseki Natsume recently, and I was like, oh yeah, like Ace Attorney. I wonder if his like outfit is doable. And I was like, oh no, there's like an actual picture of a real life author. Exactly the same dude.
Oh, it's you! You're here! You came! Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire! I can't believe you came back! I'm so touched!
We're so sorry to have kept you waiting, Mr. Natsume.
Oh, no. Think nothing of it. Relax. If I were a cat, I would purr with pleasure at the company of such fine compatriots. Noble, nurturing, never failing Nipponese.
Oh, now, let's not get carried away.
Oh, I quite agree.
There's nothing more reassuring than the familiarity of one's native land. On the other hand, it is through friendship transcending international borders that one truly appreciates the fact. Man, this is a wild chapter. So there's a guy that's speaking Shakespearean, a real life like Japanese author, and then like a sort of like surrogate version of Sherlock Holmes. Like, if someone's a bookworm, they had a really good chapter this time around. Such is my belief, at least.
Yes, it's you! The miserable, rotted spy! Sherlock Holmes!
Discount history book. Man, imagine learning from here a lot about history and then just being like, oh man, I could pull out all kinds of British lit. Look at his ass posing. Look at both of these poses. Both of these poses are really wild. Just Soseki like cringing, and then like, what's it called? Sherlock being like really like, what's it called? Really excited. It's like, what's it called? I got it. Like Tia Tamara, you know, where like Sherlock Holmes has like the, what's it called, the Doja Cat vibe, while Soseki's got like the, what's it called, the Rico Nasty sort of feel. Oh yeah, hello Izzy, it's nice to see you. Yeah, we're at, what's it called? We're at the 4th chapter of the first part of Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. The one with Soseki Natsume and having to clear his attempted, I guess, the attempted murder charges that are on him. But yes, I'm reading along, and what's it called? Sherlock Holmes is now showing up to, I guess, taunt Soseki. Mr. Holmes, what are you doing here? I have no intention of doing anything per se, save observing, of course. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Holmes? Well, having encountered some curious reading material in that gloomful room, and having unmasked the secret identity of that eccentric pair, I decided I should drop in on my way home to see how our divested friend is faring. Gloomful room. At least your accommodation here offers a window, my dear fellow. In that sense, it's the superior option. Anyway, I must commend you for your taste in books. My day has been a delight and cost me not a penny.
Ah! You! How dare you! Sherlock Holmes! I have had it. I'm through. I'm at the end of my rope. I should have never come to Great Britain. It was a terrible mistake. Haunted by spirits in those accursed lodgings. No doubt my luck would be cursed in tomorrow's trial as well. My whole life is bedamned!
What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? He mentioned that once before, didn't he? That his lodgings were cursed, I mean.
And there is much truth in Mr. Mustache's words.
What?
Cursed is a wholly appropriate description, I would say. For that man's lodgings, and indeed for tomorrow's trial.
What's that supposed to mean? Mr. Natsume, what did you mean by what you said just now? About the trial tomorrow being cursed?
Oh no. Why are you looking at me so grave? You're making me nervous. I was just getting carried away, that's all. I didn't mean anything by it.
Oh, I see. That really agitated him.
You don't mean the trial's really cursed somehow?
Are you referring to the prosecutor, the Reaper of the Bailey?
The Reaper? Oh no. What do you mean? Please tell me! Summarize it sufficiently in 16 salient words!
No defendant has ever survived a trial by which the Reaper stands for prosecution. Ever.
Oh my goodness! Can it really be true? That was 16 words exactly!
Yesterday, Mr. Naruhodo successfully defended someone against the Reaper. But then, after the trial was over, the defendant passed away in unusual circumstances. Mr. McGill did.
What?
Ah, I'm impressed, Miss Susato. You have an eye for detail. Actually, the Lord Chief Justice told us. Mr. Sholmes, surely it can't be that, having failed to have the accused convicted, Lord Van Zeeks killed the man himself? Oh no, he couldn't have, surely.
You have wonderful notions.
Sorry?
The man isn't a mass murderer, he's a court prosecutor, my dear fellow.
Oh, yes. Why, of course he is.
Of course he is! Then why are you trying to scare me?
It could be said, however, that the real truth about the man is even though more terrifying than your hypothesis. What on earth do you mean by that?
Let's go. Van Zeeks is quite an exceptional man. However, in London courts of law, exceptional does not equate winning every case without exception.
Ah, that's good. Soseki looks like he's gonna cry tears of joy.
As you're no doubt aware, in a British criminal trial, there's both the judge and jury. The judge officiates based off letter of law, whilst the jury offers public opinion and common sense. It is an excellent system whereby the defendant's guilt is considered from several points of view. However, public opinion in particular is somewhat easily manipulated.
Right.
Criminals and corrupt lawyers, for that matter, can use it to their advantage. By all means at their disposal, contriving evidence, calling imposters as witnesses, and so on. By such underhanded means, those who could want to are able to sway the jury. Which means that even in the light of irrefutable evidence, the prosecutor can fail.
But it means the wrong verdict can be passed.
And sadly, from time to time, my dear madam, it's simply a reality of the situation.
And that's alright.
However, those indicted by Lord Van Zeeks cannot escape justice. Their fate is sealed. Oh my. Though the agitation may see them agitation. Though the agitation may see them leave the courtroom with their freedom, within months they all disappear. It's most striking. Disappear? But how? Ah, by all means of misfortune, sir. Perhaps they are trampled under a passing carriage. Perhaps they fall into the Thames and drown. Perhaps they're suddenly overcome by a raging fever, or perhaps attacked by a highwayman. Oh, no. All examples of reality of events here in London, I'm afraid, Mr. Naruhodo. Ah, I knew it. I'm a dead dodo, done for, doomed! I'm sorry, dude. When you said accused lodgings before, you were referring to your room at Mr. Garrett's house, I assume. Do you mean to say you believe the place is cursed? It's been a year since I came to Great Britain. But I'd only been in London a week before I started to notice strange feelings in myself. That didn't take long then. Everywhere I looked, there were foreign faces staring at me, laughing behind my back. I was sure that people were talking about me. I started to become nervous about going outside. They were always staring at me, all the time, from dawn to dusk. So I shut myself away in my room, and even that didn't help. The fear wouldn't go away. You must have been really lonely, having been away from your homeland for such a long time.
Oh yeah, did you think Mr. McGilded was guilty or innocent? It wasn't until the very end when I realized, I guess, he was guilty. I thought he was innocent for the longest time up until, like, it was revealed that, like, the evidence was tampered with. And then Mr. McGilded was just like, the trial's over! What are you doing? The trial's over! And it's like, oh no. He tampered with the evidence. That dude definitely was guilty. But I think at first I was like, oh yeah, maybe like they were trying to hide it. Or like, I feel like it didn't make it much better that like all of the people in the passenger like bus like had some kind of history with him. So I'm like, oh, maybe they did like try to screw him over. They were like, oh no, like they tampered with the evidence deliberately, and Mr. McGilded is starting to get more and more agitated by the notion that people are trying to say, oh yeah, maybe the evidence is tampered with. But I was innocent at first until a specific case made it hard for me to tell. I think that was something that, I think that was kind of what was going on my end. I do have like high functioning autism. I guess it used to be referred to as Asperger's, but over time it became more just high functioning. But it was something that always kind of made me just sort of, I guess mostly just kind of really shy and nervous, but also just made me kind of like, just sort of take what I'm given at a given moment and absorb it. So like as I kind of go along, I'm like, oh yeah, of course, this is new information. This is new information. And then every time new information goes on, I'm like, wait a second, this new information is way different. This new information is the one that like completely makes me question whether like McGilded was actually innocent or not. But I think definitely by the time he was freaking out at the stand, he definitely felt like he was like as guilty as ever. I've had to move a number of times, most recently to that room on Briar Road a week ago. Yes, why did you choose there? It seems a little inconvenient. The rent was cheap. I had so little money, it appealed to me straight away. Of course, I asked why it was so affordable. The landlord just simpered and said, "The room is cursed." Oops! He quickly tried to cover his mistake, but it was too late, so I told him.
If you had something to say, then say it. If not, don't mention it in the first place.
Yes, well said.
But it was true. It was all true.
You mean the room is really cursed then?
Ever since I moved to that windowless hellhole, my sleep has been plagued with nightmares. I awake feeling as though I'm being choked to death. In my waking hours, people are stabbed in front of me as I walk down the street. I'm branded a killer, thrown in prison. No one wants to know me. I'm surrounded by scary, sinister spirits. If only there was someone, just one person on my side. Can no one find it in his or her heart to believe me? Really, no one at all?
To believe. Yes, to believe. Mr. Sholmes.
Ah, me, Mr. Naruhodo. Pray, what can I do for you?
It's about the case on the SS Buria, if you recall.
The Buria. Oh, that case. The one with the snake?
Well, yes. At the time, I was the suspect, but you believed me and listened to my side of the story. And you helped us to investigate.
I did, didn't I? Interesting.
What I want to know is, why? Why did you believe me?
I see, yes. You mean... because you were grimly dressed? Shady Eastern fellow found with the victim in the locked room?
Well, if you'd like, yes.
I'm a little surprised that the answer requires explanation, my dear fellow. It's quite simple, really. You said, I didn't do it.
But I could have been lying. Surely you must have had your doubts. You must have suspected me a little.
I think perhaps you have misunderstood. I neither recall believing in you, nor in that which you were telling me.
What?
You see, the only thing I believe in are those I choose to believe in.
What? What do you mean, Mr. Sholmes?
I make up my own mind about what I believed in, and what is not. If I should like to believe in something, I do. The circumstances can hang as far as I'm concerned.
But I could have betrayed your trust.
In that case, I should have made an elementary error of judgment. Nothing more. Betrayal of trust is an overused exercise, in my opinion. Oh, excuse, my bad.
Meaning...
whether or not one should trust another is, in my final analysis, down to oneself. It is a matter of whether or not one can trust oneself. Yes, he's right! He's right! Look up, student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
Whether or not I can believe myself.
A defense lawyer is only good as his faith in the client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself.
You were so right, Kazuma.
Well, my dear fellows, it's time we were leaving, I believe.
Already?
Visiting hours are over. The guard will be surely to escort us out. There's a restaurant near here that serves excellent trout. Would you care to join me?
Oh dear, there's never enough time, is there? Mr. Natsume, if you'd like, in the trial tomorrow, I'd be happy to represent you.
Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
As I said, I'm only experienced a British courtroom for the first time yesterday. And although a man I was representing was found not guilty, I lost sight of something crucial.
Something crucial?
What to believe in? The defendant? Justice? Or the truth? How to believe even? But I think I've finally worked it out. I've decided I must believe in myself above all else, to trust my instincts. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo. And my instincts are telling me that you, Mr. Natsume, are innocent of this crime. And it's imperative that we prove that in court.
Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
I will fight for your innocence until the bitter end, with every weapon available to me. So I hope you'll permit me to represent you tomorrow.
As I said when we first met, I'd like to entrust my faith to someone who will listen to me in my native tongue.
Of course, Mr. Natsume. It would be fair to say, Mr. Naruhodo, that your mind was in many ways made up from the outset. You merely needed the events of today to fully realize it. Yes, I think you're right about that. It's been a roundabout journey, but I've gotten here through in the end. Miss Susato. Sorry about that. I had to scoot a bit. Wait, Joan. Oh, it's so rough. Joan, I feel like, what's it called? I feel like the T gag was pretty rough. I think that there was a lot of like really awful things said about her, but I know that the T thing was definitely something that started to wear thin after a while. Yes? Would you be willing to stand with me by my side tomorrow and help me in court? Absolutely. As I said before this morning, you may consider me your personal judicial assistant. Yeah, she is adorable, but I feel like there was definitely that sort of undercurrent of her being kind of abusive, where it's like throwing things and like, what's it called, slapping him, dumping tea on his lap. The shocking events of yesterday's trial still weigh heavily on my mind, but it's time to stop looking backwards. Cosma believed in me, and Mr. Shomes believes in me now too. So it's time that I learned to believe in myself. So Seki-san has no one. I didn't hear what, oh, what's it called? Mostly just about how mean, like, I guess, what's it called? A lot of that sort of undercurrent of, like, Joan abusing that dude. Where it almost felt like it was kind of like this weirdly toxic kind of relationship. Yeah. Tomorrow, in the courtroom, with all the strength I can muster.
To be continued.
Alright, we're finally in court. It's been so long. Oh no, there's more domestic abuse in this chapter. Oh, some of these are like different. This one has like Sherlock, this one has him. That's fun. I was like, oh, the save files have different characters. First time realizing it. One of the jurors. Oh my. Oh no. Well, I never expected this. Who'd have thought we'd be back here so soon? I'm half expecting this. I've gotten so traumatized from this being the place where we constantly met up with Mr. McGilded that I half expect him to just show up and just be like, "Ah, top of the morning, laddies. Who'd have thunk I'd be still alive?" We're still on tour in Great Britain with intention of learning of this country's legal practices. He rises from the ashes. "Top of the morning! I have a new film coming out. It's called Wonka. Please see it in theaters." In order to do research on the latest court procedures here, we need to pull out more gasoline. In order to put the latest court procedures, we need as much court experience as possible. Well, yes, I suppose that's true, but for the person in the dock, it may as well be his or her and only time in court. It could be life-changing. In which case, treating it as research may seem a little crass. Oh, when you put it like that, you're quite right. Good morning! Ah, Mr. Natsume. Good morning. Oh dear, you alright? Your eyes are terribly bloodshot.
The early bird catches the worm, as they say here in Britain.
Yes, I've heard that expression.
But I really don't want to catch a worm. So I tried desperately not to wake up early, but I was so worried I couldn't catch a wink. And now, I'm absolutely exhausted as a result.
Do all literary people take things so literally? Thank you for putting your faith in us today, Mr. Natsume.
I wish I had 9 lives. My whole future hangs in the balance. I'm too terrified to tremble.
Really, because I could feel the tremors in the floor.
I can't do this. I can't take this. Although, welcome student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
Yes?
I got a glimpse of the public gallery as I walked by the courtroom. It looked like the opening night of an opera. There were so many people. I had no idea my case was such a notorious affair here in London.
Oh, neither did I. Do you know why that might be, Miss Susato? I'm sorry, Mr. Naruhodo, but I have no idea. So that all-knowing look in your face was just a coincidence then, is it?
Don't hide the truth from me. It's because of the Reaper, isn't it?
Lord Van Zeeks? Is that right, Miss Susato? I purchased as many different newspapers as I could find this morning, and yes, Lord Van Zeeks is on the front page of every one of them. I knew it. Sometime after the prosecutor was dubbed the Reaper of the Bailey, he stopped appearing in the court, it seems. It's been years now. Until the day before yesterday. Do I think Van Zeeks killed him? I don't think he personally did it. I mean, it kind of checks out because he might seem like he was so vengeful that he wanted his justice exacted. But I feel like Mr. McGilded had made so many enemies by that point that, like, I feel like anybody could have done it. It was one of those things, like, I think the story, like, Murder on the Orient Express had that sort of thing where, like a lot of people were revealed to kill one person. And it was, like, I guess that thing where, like, Mr. McGilded had so many rivals that I imagine that anybody in that courtroom could have had it out for him. Yes, Mr. Gregson told us something similar, didn't he? The trial 2 days ago marked his return after a long hiatus. The trial of Magnus McGilded. Ugh, what a harrowing experience that was.
I believe that appearance made even greater waves here in the capital than today's. But we wouldn't have realized it, of course, having only just arrived in the country. Has Ring Pop hat? Yeah, that is the little gem. That is the same little ruby that the Ring Pops have. Why is the Reaper back in the Bailey so soon? For what appears to be a mundane murder. That's the question the papers are asking. They're all speculating various answers.
Mundane? Mundane? What's the most significant saga of the century to some of us?
Oh dear, I meant no offense, Mr. Natsume, but that's how the papers are describing it.
Well, lest we also forget the fact that it could spark an international incident. Obviously, the reappearance of the infamous prosecutor has caught people's attention. But there's another blatant similarity with the trial of 2 days ago.
Yes, I agree.
Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. It's you!
Me? Well, I suppose he might have had a guy crush.
Both times it's you who stands up against the legendary prosecutor. It can only mean that you're friends with the Reaper.
Please, I don't rub shoulders with Deathbringers. Not unless it's slash fiction. I'm afraid there's really only one other explanation. It can only be another example, Mr. Naruhodo, of your uncommon bad luck. Thanks for that.
Oh, this is just my luck. Why must I be represented by a man with such frail fortune? By the least lucky lawyer alive.
Well, let's not forget that it was you, Mr. Natsume, who asked me to represent you. Yeah, Van Zeeks says a lot of bullshit. Yeah, I think that Mr. Van Zeek's like bias against Japanese people and his like very much deep obsession with like my Japanese-ness as like Ryunosuke Naruhodo like really bothers him. Yes, it's true, I'm just a student, new to London with little in the way of experience or skills or luck. But I promise you this. I will fight in your corner until the bitter end, and I will believe in you, Mr. Natsume.
Ah, benevolent. Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
You're not alone with us, Mr. Natsume. Whatever happens, we will always be on your side.
Oh, benevolent, non-locum assistant, Miss Mikotoba Esquires. I'm in your debt, forever. I shall not forget this.
Mr. Natsume, Council of Defense. The court session's about to begin. Kindly make your way to the courtroom at once.
Alright then, Mr. Natsume. It's time. Let's go.
Yeah, yes!
This is it. My second appearance in British courtroom. And my second trial against the Reaper. I hope you're watching me, Kazuma. 'Cause this time, I won't let my faith waver. I believe in my client to the last. Just like you believed in me. I believe I can do this now. I'm ready for this fight. Oh man, what's his name's back? Bruce is back. The Bruce is loose. Oh yeah, I gotta really drink water because I put on like the... I love the voice I do for the judge because it's like the Richard Harris voice that he does for Dumbledore in like the first two Harry Potters.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution an offense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is fully prepared, my lord.
The defense is ready, my lord.
The Japanese are truly fascinating breed. What the fuck?
Sorry, what the fuck?
Lord Strongheart has told me all about you. That you are a student who arrived in London but 2 days ago. A mere amateur.
Do you have a point?
Being a compatriot, you feel compelled to try to help the accused, I suppose. Typical Nipponi's arrogance.
I want to steal Van Zeke's lunch money and shove him in a locker. He does have nerd feelings. He does have nerd tendencies. Putting his leg on the counter, trying to pour wine and be like, a toast for your point. What a nerd. Forgive me, but I do not believe arrogance is an appropriate description. Susato-san. After all, at our previous encounter, the defendant was found to be innocent, and you lost the case.
Yes, I pour one out to all my homeboys. Very true, and a most fascinating if dark trial it was too. A tragic conclusion came later, of course. Here's to the acquitted and his unfortunate violent end.
Thank you, counsels. I see both sides are in fine fettle. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, are you ready to carry out your trial here, in court as impartial members of the public?
You never know when you might be down on your luck, but I believe in fair play for everyone, or my name wouldn't be Bruce Fairplay.
Oh, well, I must warn you, I'm never not ruthless than I appear. Oh well, not me. What you see is what you get. I'm a peace-loving fellow. I'm afraid to say it's quite possible the mustached foreigner did the deed.
Oh yeah, she's there.
Come on now, what are you waiting for? No doubt he did it anyway.
Sorry, didn't quite catch that.
Said she wanted Van Zeeks to sit on him at one point. Nice. Not the beast.
Don't pour tea on my balls, beast. Oh, the beast.
Sorry, that was the what we did in the shadows beast.
Get your hands off my balls, beast.
Very well. Let us proceed. Your opening statement, if you please, Lord Van Zeeks.
Very recently, Great Britain seeded an alliance with the rising power of the Far East. Now allow me to read all kinds of very racist statistics against the Japanese that I found on Google.com. The accused in the dock today is a sub-student from the same land, a certain Mr. Soseki Natsume. And while the court has extended this foreign student to the warmest of welcomes, regrettably, the kindness has not been returned.
The omnibus Mr. McGilden and Basin.
In fact, the student was accused of the most sinister act.
Of plunging a knife into the back of an innocent man who did nothing but walk down the street. A knife crime? I tell you from bitter experience, those are the worst. Bloody oath there are.
Just look at her sallow complexion and her short stature. Here, he's one of the dreadful Japanese.
Come on, let's count on now. 3, 2, 1.
Sorry, didn't quite catch that.
Let's see. Would it be?
I don't know.
That would be it.
Pray forgiveness, the discourtesy of smashing my hallowed chalice here in the great chamber. I am just a huge nerd who has very wonderful courtroom theatrics. Now call the first witness on the stand. Very well. Bailiff, lead the inspector in, please. Oh no, not fucking Inspector Gregson. He's going to just mash his chips up and try to slander Soseki. Your name and occupation, please.
Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard.
Would you please summarize the events of the case to the court, Inspector? Juror number 5, Mr. Carrot, if she gets a divorce lawyer. all of this Jones slander.
The victim was thought to be a young woman in her 20s by the name of Olive Green.
I beg your pardon, Inspector. Thought to be.
Yes, having been stabbed in the back by attacker's knife, the victim fell unconscious. That was 3 days ago. She's been comatose ever since.
I can't wait to see Olive Green. What? So they don't even know who she is for sure? Comatose, I see. Her life is not in danger. Fortunately for the Eastern student, the charge will not be murder. Pray elaborate on the details, Inspector.
Sir, if I could ask everyone to look at a street map. As I mentioned, the incident took place 3 days ago at around 5 in the afternoon. It happened on the pavement running alongside Briar Road, a wide thoroughfare of horse-drawn vehicles. It had been not long since stopped snowing as the victim, Miss Green, was walking down the street. Out of the blue, she was approached behind by the accused and stabbed in the back. Luckily, the young lady's life was spared and she's currently being treated at one of the city's hospitals. But being unconscious as she is, we've been unable to take a statement from her, of course. And we didn't trust some guy that just visited her place, going by the name of some Shinji Akari. I don't know, seemed like kind of a creep to me. And this is the case file with everything we know about the victim so far.
Thank you, Inspector. The court will accept the documents as evidence, if you'd please. The case file's been entered in the court record. What if the weapon was used?
Sir, I have it here. It's been removed from the victim's back.
Ouch. That big thing's starting to make me scared walking down the street now. With a heavy blade like that, it's almost like anyone could have been able to stab the poor woman. Even the scraggly-looking Soseki, I suppose. A common or garden jackknife, I would say. Rather nondescript. Thank you, Inspector. The court accepts the blade as evidence. Man, we're gonna tamper with this evidence. We just need more smoke bombs. Now then, what do we know of the motive? Money or valuables, I presume?
From what I could tell by looking at the woman's possessions, it seems she was a poor student herself.
Hard to imagine she would have had anything other worth pinching, my lord. I see. Well, in this case, we are looking at some deep-seated resentment towards the victim.
I'm afraid I couldn't say. Apart from visiting secondhand bookstores, the defendant, Mr. Natsume, doesn't get out very much.
We also need a Spitfire lesbian pickpocket.
At this moment, we've been able to establish any form of connection between him and the victim.
If theft and grievance have been ruled out as a motive, what reason could Mr. Natsume have possibly had for stabbing the young woman? Yet you arrested the man in spite of that, in a totally unjustified and heavy-handed way.
Objection!
You got rid of your wine? That was perfectly good wine, sir. I would have liked to have a sip.
Pray forgive the discourtesy of flinging a freshly uncorked bottle into the public gallery.
but your words have soured its hollow bouquet. For it is you, my learned friend, who's being heavy-handed here.
What?
Scotland Yard does not arrest people without good cause. That should be beyond question. Inspector Gregson, the prosecution calls for your formal testimony. Explain to the court precisely why the constabulary came to arrest the Nipponi student.
Yes, sir.
Oh wait, why did I do a really nice voice for him? It was for yes, sir. As I said, it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the incident occurred. And then there's the unusual light fog.
Can sue Van Zeeks for big money. He's a nobleman. You can milk it if you're rich. Be like, someone could just fall over and be like, I was severely wounded by that wine bottle you threw.
Visibility was reasonably good, and there's no other place around here than the victim and the accused. Out of the blue, the victim was stabbed from behind and subsequently collapsed on the pavement. The accused ran off, scattering his belongings all over the floor. Those being a number of old books he had just bought. He was on his way from the bookshop, it seems. It was just a matter of working out who the books belonged to, and he found an old bloke to arrest him.
Old books, you say?
Yes, my lord. I have a photograph here of the scene of the crime taken immediately after the incident.
Oh yes, I can see the books which you're referring to. I will take the photographic print as evidence. Please, Inspector.
Your Nipponis are spineless. Too cowardly to admit defeat.
That's very racist. Denying everything, despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Well, forgive me, Lord Van Zeeks, but you're actually wrong. The defendant is not denying anything, as you put it. What are you doing, Miss Usato?
Do go on.
Mr. Natsume has admitted to playing some part in the incident. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, now that you mention it, when we visited him in prison yesterday, he did tell us everything that happened.
As I was walking along the accursed path, I could make out a sole silhouette of another head of me. A woman wearing a green overcoat she was, and just as I went to overtake her, she suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed in the cold hard slab stone at my feet. I was terrified. I had to get away from there. So I ran as fast as my legs would carry me to the cursed lodgings.
A green overcoat.
Well, that's exactly what the woman in the print was wearing. Oh my, a photographic print in full color. What will the word come up with next?
The defendant has done nothing more than admit he fled the scene of a terrifying incident. That does not mean he's guilty of the heinous crime of stabbing the woman in the back.
There was nobody else around there at the time.
Just the two of them, the victim and the accused. In other words, there's no one else who could have stabbed the woman. A fact that the accused concedes.
It seems the cross-examination could be pivotal, counsel. Proceed, please.
Yes, my lord. Nothing for it. I have to use this cross-examine to turn the tables here. As I said, 5 o'clock, when there was an unusually light fog, visibility was reasonably good, and there was no one else there but the victim and the accused. Wait, no, back. Hold it! How are you able to state that with any certainty?
Quite simply, my learned friend, because it's what the witnesses of the crime have told us.
Ah yes, Inspector Gregson mentioned the witnesses yesterday, didn't he? That's right, one of them was a policeman, I believe. From Scotland Yard?
That's correct, madam.
Then we must hear their testimony.
The prosecution will of course call them to the stand should it be necessary.
But wait a minute. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon in the middle of winter, it would have been dark already. No matter how light the fog might have been, nobody could have seen...
I'm unaware of the situation on the tiny island in the east.
But here in the capital city of Great Britain, all main roads are illuminated in the night by gas street lights.
Ah. The prosecution believes there would have been ample light in which the witness to the crime could see. We're in London here for the first time. Mankind has conquered the darkness.
Which means you need to hear the witness's statements.
Well, I could just get to the fog of this cross-examination. The counsel is taking stock. Continue with the testimony.
Let's see. Victim of the pavement, scattered belongings, and a number of old books. A lot of them happen to be back in the place. The defendant apparently visited a secondhand bookshop on a daily basis.
Yes, so I understand. A shop full of old English literature.
I commend the accused on the lofty subject matter of his scholarly attention.
The bloke's room was stacked full, with the ceiling with those musty old books.
Can you tell us more about the bookshop in question, please, Inspector?
Well, if I must, I'll have you look at the street map again, I'm afraid. Close second-hand bookshop of the accused is placed here, Bourbon Books. A little place in the corner of Briar Road and Meekisham Street. As it happens, the accused is currently living in the lodgings on the other side of Briar Road, the opposite end. Which means it doesn't take a genius to work out the route he would have taken. Something like this.
Mr. Naruhodo, I think that the inspector just told us could turn out to be vital information, or of vital importance. The most important part that the inspector just made was the bookshop's name. Yes, Bourbon. I didn't know it was called Bourbon. Inspector Gregson, may I ask you a favor?
What?
Would you kindly add the name of the bookshop to the formal testimony, please? I believe it may be of vital importance.
Maybe.
Oh, well, you know. I mean, yes. It would be a very important clue.
Very well. Not that I see it being of great significance, but please revise your testimony accordingly, Inspector.
Yes, sir, my lord. Whatever you say.
Can the man be any more sardonic? On his way from the Bourbon Book secondhand. Let's see, there's 4, there's 5. Let's look at some of our, let's see, Bourbon books. Let's see. The book receipt. This is from your books. Well, well, well. The plot thickens. So do I. If I could just stop you there, Inspector Gregson.
What is it, Sunshine? I'm a busy man, you know.
This is a receipt we found in Mr. Natsume's room. It was issued on the day of the incident. The details of the purchase from 3 secondhand books.
And you found that in the accused's room, didn't you?
Yes, but the point is not where the receipt is found, but the name of the shop printed on it.
Go on.
This receipt was issued from a bookshop called Your Books.
Your Books. Y-O-R-E, I presume.
Yes, my lord. Just one letter less from the best girl of Spy X family, or Spy family. So Mrs. Natsume indeed purchased a number of books at the secondhand bookshop that day. However, the bookshop in question was not Bourbon Books.
What?
Inspector, do you know of this other bookshop?
Yes, sir. Your Books is another second-hand bookshop not far from Bourbon Books. It's just that, well, it's such a small place, I didn't think the accused would have known it.
But in fact, it is the bookshop where the defendant visited in the day of question. And this receipt proves it.
Objection!
Yes, for that, what difference does it make? Whether a man purchased the musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis. I disagree. I mean, after all, I have the street map here if that would help.
Yes, thank you.
Have a look at this, please. If the defendant had been returning from the bookshop, then yes, he would have certainly passed the place where Mrs. Green was attacked. However, if we take into account the fact he was actually at another bookshop, Your Books, it may very well turn out that he wouldn't have passed that location at all.
Could that be true?
My, it rather depends on whether this other bookshop is, but I do declare it may be a possibility.
Is that right, Mr. Lawyer, sir? What you just said?
Absolutely. It absolutely could be right.
Inspector Gregson, was this your bookshop establishment?
Well, obviously we looked into that. It turns out Your Books is just here on the next corner of Meacham Street going east.
And there you have it, as you see clearly now. Oh.
My learned Nipponi's friend is obviously in training to be a clown the way he regales us with such witticisms.
What's strange is that Soseki admitted to passing Miss Olive. I think that's the thing that makes it wild, where it's like, I guess him saying that he did that, but then also like being the only one with a witness, unless the killer like had a way of being able to attack, I guess, hide himself to try to murder that lady.
To the future career in the circus.
Ugh. You put that glass down or I'll put you down.
I didn't need to spell it out here, but here we go. If the accused was coming from Your Books instead of Bourbon Books, there's no doubt he still would have passed the place where the victim was stabbed.
Yes, thank you, Inspector.
Allow me to reiterate for my learned, if somewhat slow, Nipponi's friend. Whether the man purchased his musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis.
As I suspected, you can't fool me, and I do suggest you try.
What you say, eh? I've had enough of this now.
I beg your pardon. Terribly sorry, but you might repeat that.
Mr. Naruhodo, he mustn't given up. What do you mean? If the prosecution's assertion is correct, the members of the jury may very well decide that Mr. Natsume is guilty. She's absolutely right. We must consider the assertion that we put forward, that the prosecution very carefully. They claim he passed by, but I'm raising an objection. The assertion just made by the prosecution is fundamentally flawed.
Explain yourself, counsel.
Yes, my lord. You see what I mean on this map. When returning from your books to his lodgings, Mr. Natsume could have followed the route suggested by the prosecution. However, that isn't the only way to take between the two places. If the defendant used these streets, look what happens. He arrives back to his lodgings without passing the location where the victim was attacked.
Objection!
Talking back to a clown is a fool's errand, of course. However, I feel compelled to point out that that route is what's commonly referred to as the long way round. On a cold winter's night, why would anyone choose to take the longer route home? Well, the answer's extremely simple. He wouldn't. In other words, the accused took the obvious route back to his lodgings, and it's the obvious perpetrator of this crime. Yes, I've got it. Obviously, we must ask the man himself. Ask Natsume which route he took home. Yeah, what kind of objection is that? It's like, it still doesn't make a difference, and it's like, well, like, you can't just make up, oh, well, that's the long way because of reasons. I've already informed the court the excused responses are just questioning. He claims he has no recollection. Yeah, either Soseki likes walking or Soseki was trying to like stay as far away from like his home as possible. That's right. As I said, the bloke seems to be spending his time wandering outside from point A to point B. Shouldn't that be the reason why this dude would take the long way? Yeah, he also has a lot of bad luck, so he would take the long route home and mess up and realize that. The day is no exception. He says he doesn't remember where he was and which route he took home. I don't believe this. I thank you, my learned friend, and suggest we don't waste any more court's time by wandering aimlessly around the subject. Pray, what say you, insightful jurors? But even if that's the case, the defense still...
I agree with Lord Van Geeks, wholeheartedly, every way.
What? I don't believe it. This is...
We members of the jury are completely convinced now.
Very well. In that case, I hereby call upon all members of the jury to present your findings to the court.
Guilty. 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 Guilty.
Oh, you fucking pricks. Juror 1 is biased because he wants me to lose. It would appear the jurors' leanings unanimous. We're gonna pick these fuckers apart. The insightful members of the jury, I applaud your brave resolve to serve the queen and country admirably. Mr. Naruhodo. No, not yet. This isn't over yet. I still have one last chance to sway the opinion of the jury. I have to tip the balance of those scales the other way. I have to turn this around. Somehow. Those are the eyes of Quarry, not yet willing to just give up and die. So I presume you intend to wield your rights again in this trial. Rights of the defense written in antiquated British law that should have been buried long ago. Those jurors 6 like marshmallows, affectionately. It's like... Call it antiquated if you want, but it's the defense's prerogative to carry out a summation exam if he chooses. Very well, counsel.
In accordance with the letter of the law, we shall proceed with the summation exam. Are the members of the jury ready, Mr. Foreman?
Of course we're ready. I'm all too familiar with that little fucker in his own refusing to throw in his alley.
Very well then, ladies and gentlemen of the court. You will each explain what grounds you have to determine the defendant guilty.
One, two, three, four, five, six. Oh, six is the old man.
For pity's sake, the little Nipponese oddity already admitted to himself, didn't he?
Well, if he said the woman in the green collapsed before his eyes, he can only have been the victim.
The man wouldn't have gone with the houses of this way back to the bookshop, not in the winter.
So the poor woman was attacked from behind, was she? How dreadful.
I really don't care. Can we wrap this up now? We got be working to doing.
Your book's nice shop that, but bourbon books, not what to visit.
Yeah, the fifth dude is. I was joking. Was it Olive's place? Having felt the fear of a long knife. A jagged knife. Bah. And the stabbing occurred, though only 2 people were at the scene. The accused himself has admitted to seeing the victim in the green overcoat before his eyes.
Furthermore, we have heard from the inspector the defendant had fled the scene. I must say I would have ample grounds to convict this man already.
Oh dear, even the judge appears convinced of Mr. Natsume's guilt now. Oh, why do you have to run away like that? And how are we supposed to believe in some phantom attacker that no one could see? This is impossible. How do you make a case for the defense? Mr. Naruhodo, this is no time to grumble. If we want to force the trial to continue, yes, I know, we have to turn the tide and make the jurors change their mind. Well, 4 of them at least. Exactly, we have no choice but to forge forward.
You have the floor, counsel. Begin your exam.
Yes, my lord. I must keep this trial going somehow. Whatever it takes. Come on, Ryunosuke, you can do it. No. Collapse, that's true. Wouldn't have gone all the way back, not in the winter. Poor one attacked, how dreadful. I really don't care, can we wrap this up?
Hold it!
A man's life is on the line here, sir. I will not, this will take as long as it takes.
Don't get clever with me, son. My life's on the line too, and so is my family's. The likes of you would understand, but a laborer like me can't afford to take the day off. If I don't work, I don't eat, neither do my wife and kids.
Oh, I see. That must be really hard.
I can't go to union any morning to find out what needs doing. If you're late and the work's taken, it's tough. This time of year, there's water and gas supply pipes bursting. They're after cheap labor to get ducted and fix. It's a slog from day till dawn.
So, you were out digging up the roads on the day of the incident as well, were you?
That's right. In fact, if I remember rightly, it was just around the corner from where it all happened. But the old bookshop, it seems.
What? Another coincidence.
That's right. Meerschaum Street.
Meerschaum Street. On the map, Mr. Naruhodo. There are only 3 named streets. Juror number 5, I need you to add that information in your formal statement, please.
What's the point in that? Can't we just get this business over with?
Please, sir, it's important.
Fine, I'll do it then.
Let's see. So it would be not in the winter. He wouldn't have gone around the houses. This is different. Because what's it called? If Meersham Street was open, then he'd have to go another way around.
Objection!
Those two statements are at odds with one another.
At odds, Counsel. Explain yourself.
Please, don't point. It wasn't me, I swear.
What? I just won't get this done and dusted.
Well, juror number 3.
Oh, me, sir? What you mean?
Juror number 5's words now were just significant. Let's take a moment to consider the implications of what's been said on the map of the local area. On the day in question, Mr. Natsume visited this bookshop to purchase a number of secondhand books, and on the same day, we now know that there are works being carried out on Meersham Street, making that impassable, which means the defendant's route home could not have been taken alongside Meersham Street down Briar Road.
Oh, yes, of course. What do you think, sir?
Well, yes, can't argue with that, really. Must add a good 2 yards more in the pavement up. Every gentleman and gentlewoman that came up and turned out the other way.
So the only conclusion is this: the defendant must have taken the longer way back.
Yes, I suppose he must have.
I suppose, right, yeah.
Juror number 3 said the following: the man wouldn't have gone around the house on his way back to the bookshop, but we see now he had no choice.
Yes. My lord, my judge, sir, if I may.
Yes?
I don't think in all good conscience I can say the man's guilty now.
Yes, I'd like to see the trial continue so I can get to the bottom of what really happened.
What about you, sir?
Who, me? Well, alright then. If there's a hole in the prosecution's argument, it should be filled in, as they say.
Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo. That's wonderful. Well, managed to change a couple minds at least. Strengthened our position somewhat. Yes, and it'll prompt the other members to consider as well. They'll be asking themselves about the current leanings are really right or not. Now, if only we could just identify one more clue or discrepancy that would make them stop doubting Mr. Natsume. We might be able to tip the balance completely. Yes, that's exactly what we gotta do. Van Zeeks is looking to bring this trial to an early conclusion. That's what we have to prevent by whatever means we have at our disposal.
Thank you, Counsel. On the summation exam, please.
Yes, my lord. Now, let's see. Your books, nice shop, but bourbon books, not worth a visit.
Sorry, folded. Fold what?
No. I said hold it. What I wanted to ask was, do you visit your books often?
I like the old books they have in there, yes. I enjoy reading them over a nice cup of cold tea. It's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day, including the day you're talking about.
And at what time did you visit your books on the day in question?
Well, I was picking up books in there after the afternoon, and it would have just been before 5 when I left. That's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day, including the day you're talking about.
Just before 5, you say, exactly when the victim was attacked. Are you sure about the time?
Ah, yes, no mistake there. I remember it well. I'm not about to forget the day in a hurry. Not after the dreadful time I had.
What do you mean?
Well, I was walking down Calabash Floor, and I slipped on the ice and donked my head. It was always worse after the snow stopped falling.
That's when it's most slippery. Knocked myself clean out, I did. I really thought my number was up.
Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. This happened on Calabash Road?
That's right. I live in Cornpipe, you see. Heading down Calabash Road is the quickest way for me to get back to your books.
Juror number 6, I must insist that you add that information to your statement. It's extremely significant.
Sorry, extremely sick. No, I'm quite alright.
Change 2 of the minds. Now let's change more hearts and minds. Deliver the killing blow. Gil. I wish I knew how to do a Susato takedown. Maybe I could beat some of these people's asses. Let's see. Woman collapsed before his eyes. Why, it can only have been the victim. I slipped over and knocked myself clean out. Let's see, there's only poor woman was attacked from behind. If he said a woman in green collapsed, it can only have been the victim. I think it's this one. Those two statements show a flaw in the juror's reasoning.
Flaw? What are you talking about, Counsel?
Well, juror number 2, juror number 6.
Why, whatever you mean, sir.
I think perhaps the old man didn't hear you. Unbelievable. It's not like I was loud or anything. There's at least one fact which we can be sure of here. The bookshop receipt found in the defendant's room indicates on the day of the attack, he had been to your books, purchased a number of secondhand titles. He then returned home on foot.
But the man said he's no recollection of his return home.
That's correct. But what he does remember is seeing someone appear in front of him that way. Someone in a green overcoat who suddenly collapsed on the pavement before his eyes.
We are, yes, so aware of it. The poor young woman who was stabbed, obviously.
Can we really be sure of that, madam?
My, whatever do you mean?
I'm sure you heard jury number 6's account of what happened to him that day. That same afternoon, there was someone else, apart from the victim, who was wearing a green overcoat and fell over in the icy street in the neighborhood.
Oh my!
My goodness, you mean... That's right. I'm referring, of course, to the hard-hearing juror number 6.
Are you really suggesting that the person in the green overcoat who the defendant saw collapse in front of his eyes was the jolly old gentleman on the edge of the bench here with me today?
It's entirely possible, yes. After all, the old man has somewhat similar build to the victim.
Well, look at that.
My goodness me! Sorry, you need to pee?
And crucially, we know precisely where the old man in the green overcoat fell.
On Calabash Road.
Therefore, if the person who Mr. Natsume saw collapsing in front of him was indeed juror number 6, it means the defendant must have taken the long road back to his belongings and lodgings. If that's true, then clearly the crime scene on Briar Road where the woman is stabbed was not on his way home.
Oh my!
You idiot old man. If you'd been so daft to roam around, we'd been boxed off 12 days ago.
And really, what were you thinking wearing such a befuddling coat? What did you say about me? It's a crime for the elderly to walk the streets. It's a crime to slip on the ice. Is it a crime to keep up the latest styles with a beautiful green overcoat, is it? My lord, I do hope it won't cause any convenience, but...
You'd like to change your leaning, I presume?
I do declare that I would. I shall call the verdict of not guilty.
Thank you.
Number 2.
What?
Is it a crime to change your mind? Is it? Well,
It's only the two evil ones that still think he's guilty.
The ayes 2, the noes 4. So the noes have it, not guilty, they say. Which means you no longer have the consensus among the members of the jury. The trial will continue.
Objection!
Could it seem churlish of me to drink from my hollow chalice moments after raising an objection? Only to crush it in disgust. Pray forgive the discourtesy.
Well, Lord Van Zeeks.
It seems I must retract my earlier remark.
What do you mean?
I mistakenly credited them with intelligence by describing them as insightful. Yet we have just witnessed them fall for a cheap trick from an Eastern entertainer.
whatever do you mean?
I haven't tricked everyone. Everything I said is the truth. Get in the locker. You're getting a swirly later on.
Indeed, I will get a swirly later on. Juror number 5 was undoubtedly repairing the road. I believe you said it was a good 2 yards of the pavement. That's right. Took me the whole day and they paid me a measly tuppence for it. Now, my learned friend, tell me. Do you have any notion of the distance 2 yards represents?
Oh, well, if I'm honest, I don't have a clue. 2 yards is a little less than 2 meters. Less than? That's not much at all. In other words, a distance readily vaulted by anyone with moderate vigor. Would you not agree, my stalwart friend?
Well, me? Well, I can't say you're wrong, no.
What? And did you perchance erect a sign preventing pedestrians from passing?
I wouldn't dream of it. What a waste of time. No coaches would add hope of passing anyways. Just turn the general folk back. You just jump right over all the time.
The accused is no gentleman as far as I can see. I have a little doubt, however, he could spring over the trench.
Oh, is that true, is it?
Hey, like, you just said that he couldn't stay outside for much longer. You said it was too cold for him. And now suddenly he's able to walk down the road if he can do a fucking Olympics jump. An old man.
Good old man, you can talk.
You said around 5 in the day of question you slipped and fell. Pray, was there a suspicious looking man behind you?
Oh, I can't say I remember.
You don't remember? How about a wager, my learned friend? You say this old man was the accused saw, but I would lay 1,000 to 1 against you being able to prove it.
Order. Lord Van Zeeks, stop wasting time.
2 meters is a 6 feet jump. Do you think that somebody like Natsume in like the cold of winter would be able to do like a volley? My lord,
If you had such entrenched argument up your sleeve, why in the world did you not proffer during the summation?
Humph. I wanted to give this young student the sightseeing experience he no doubt came for. I wanted him to see for himself how the opinion of the jury is so readily swayed. I feel like you're talking out of your ass, dude. But my hospitality has its limits, and they feel they've been reached. So, my learned friend, today's sightseeing tour of London is now over. Well, what are you talking about? My lord, just finish the trial, say he's guilty, and say I won. The prosecution requests permission to call its next witness to the stand.
Granted, bailiff, bring forth the witnesses.
Its next witnesses? Mr. Naruhodo, do you not remember? We've been told on several occasions there were eyewitnesses to the scene. Yes, I remember. One of them was a policeman, nonetheless. I'm afraid his next witness. Alright. No matter who he brings to the stand, and no matter what they say, I believe in Soseki-san. I know he's innocent. Time for the healthiest relationship in the game. I hope so. I'll be keeping a belief until the very end, until this battle's over. Aww. Witnesses, please state your names and occupations to the court. BBs.
Constable Roy Belly, sir. Nothing to report in the street, sir. And I'm Mrs. Beat. Patricia's my name. I'm proud to say I'm the young town hero's wife.
Oh, oops. What's the story here?
Well, in truth, we've not been married long. In fact, we celebrated our first anniversary only the other day.
No, it was your husband I was asking about. He seems tired. Hardly surprising. Whilst being an honorable occupation, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work. Oh, yes, Amanda, they're little babbles. Indeed, apart from the rare days off, our gallant officers trudge 20 miles patrolling boarding houses and pubs, collecting taxes, surveying the streets, checking meters. They're responsible for keeping the streets clean and lightning. And there's a number of items on that list that don't sound much like policing duties. I wouldn't be falling asleep on my feet had it collapsed long ago. But it goes without saying, the primary duty is the apprehension of criminals. Even when he's off duty, he's expected to investigate and resolve any crimes on this beat. For London Bobby is a man of honor. And a man of slumber. On the day in question, this man and his wife are walking down Briar Road in opposite direction, and they witnessed an incident has occurred. Is it not correct, Mr. and Mrs. Beat?
That's right, sir. Isn't it, Rolly? Constable Roy Bailey, sir. Nothing to report on the street, sir.
What a great witnesses he's gotten to be. Very good. I'd like to hear your formal testimonies, please. If you tell the court this saw the afternoon. Oh, they're the same. It's like drooping down.
Yes, sir. It was our wedding anniversary and Roy was taking me out for a meal. There's no time to change after work. Anyway, two silhouettes appear at the fog on the pavement in front of us. All of a sudden, one of them just collapsed on the floor, then the other scattered somewhere before running off. We ran straight over, of course, and then went for help at the nearby police box. He was definitely a Japanese man at the dock. Roy and I both saw him as clear as day.
Well, this is compelling testimony. Oh dear, this policeman and his wife are claiming to have identified Natsume. Their testimony is true. The alternative course that you established in the exam will be quashed. It's death knell, in fact, because that alternative was never viable in the first place. What an unfortunate chancing, and on your wedding anniversary too, just like the Alanis Morissette song.
Oh, I know, but I still managed to go out for the evening with my man. I thank the Lord for that.
Gosh, life of London Bobby sounds really hard indeed. Indeed, however, this cross-examination will be over in minutes. You may very well have time to rest in the afternoon. What do you mean by that? My learned friend, the witnesses saw the face of the man fleeing the scene. They are testifying under oath. It was without a doubt Tsuseki Natsume. And one of these witnesses is a policeman, no less. So appreciate the gravity of situation, I'm sure. Except that man's so tired his wife has to do everything. Enough preamble, counsel of defense. Commence the cross-examination. Yes, my lord. What kinds of meal did you guys have? Brock doesn't know this game is Perjury Simulator. Pretty much everyone under oath is lying because you keep on just grilling people into changing their stories. The entire thing, myself included.
Hold it!
No time to change after work, you say? Are you also a member of the police, Mrs. Beats?
Oh no, sadly not. It's a job for strapping young men only. Women, children, and elderly can't even apply.
Well, I think that you can probably see why children and elderly can't do the job, can you?
I think Rolly looks even more handsome in his uniform. It suits you down the ground, doesn't it, darling?
I just finished my pee. Pat and I were heading down to the station.
I was planning on getting charged there.
Ryunosuke. Ryunosuke is like, women should be cops too. I get why like kids and elderly people would be terrible cops, but like the ladies, I mean, yes, Mrs. Officer. Is he talking in his sleep? That's creepy.
Oh no, Rolly. I much prefer you in your uniform. Sometimes I don't recognize you when I see you in plain clothes.
Oh dear, that doesn't seem healthy. Kindly adhere to your point. You were going for a meal after you finished your beat on the day, sir. Correct?
That's right, sir, yes. Although I was fit to drop, to be honest, after spending the whole day on my feet. My police in my life, sir. As long as a proud come of this, I served the city and my queen to the end.
What's that now? And I hope by queen you mean your wife, and not the actual queen. Otherwise that's rude.
My word, sir. Prove I'm a London copper, and this noble founding man written on the reminder of us policemen and sworn duty to patrol the streets of London town and uphold the peace of the common man.
Guess how old they are? They kind of look like they're like 18. Like these look like babus, like teenagers. I'm like, wait a second. Like, is this like commentary on how like young people could get married in like old England?
Sir, in such a noble cause I come in 20 miles every single day without fail, without cripple. Yes, I know. The plotting of brutes is all London's need to be safe and secure.
So, fighting crime doesn't appear to come with it, then?
But sir, just on the particular day I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary, with being put up and not being married to a Bobby like me, I just want to show my dear wife how much I care.
Oh, Pat. Oh, Rolly.
I thought they were in the teens. They're 20s. 24? I thought they were 6. They do look 16. I mean, I guess they're believable as 20. It's that weird kind of like puppy love, but I'm like, oh yeah. Definitely young couples in their 20s have that kind of puppy love as well. If a little more over the top, it seems.
And then kindly describe what happened next.
We went straight over, then helped by a near police box. Was it your husband who went to fetch help?
No, I went. I may not be a police officer myself, but I'm the proud wife of one after all. Isn't that right, my darling?
What? Yeah, that's right. I asked me big to go. I was off duty by that point, but Bobby's never truly off duty, of course, so I felt obligated to stay and guard the scene.
Very laudable, Mr. Beat. Preserving the scene of the crime is a task of importance.
That's why I sent Patricia, you see. I told her where to find the right police box.
Forgive my ignorance, but what do you mean exactly by the right police box?
Depends on the crime's location, as you see, as to who deals with it. The one that was stabbed was an accident, maybe. We saw Patricia was on the way to the police box on the beat. The incident occurred right over, so you could go and report it.
So I'd have the car sticker, you will address me by my husband's rank. Be like, I am the proud wife of a cop. Be like, just like, oh no, I'm a cop by association due to marriage.
I ran there as quickly as I could and I asked for help from the Bobby on duty. There's nothing more potent than a young couple in love working together, you know.
And thanks to your swift response, the case was quickly resolved. The actions of two model citizens.
Oh please, you're making me blush. Isn't he, darling?
Yes, sir. What Patricia said, sir.
Well, let's move on, shall we? It was definitely the Japanese man in the dock. Rolly and I saw him as clear as day. But surely he wouldn't have been able to see his face by the light of the gas streetlights, would you?
We absolutely could. Us Londoners have exceptional eyesight, I'll have you know.
Right.
The light from the street lamps was more than enough. And my husband already told you that the fog was only light, didn't he?
Yes, and what of the fog?
We're famous for it across the globe, I believe. But it's an absolute menace to those of us who have to live with it, of course.
Oh, it is. When it's thick, you can't even see the hand at the end of your own arm.
Yes, alright, I can take your point. Now could you stop shaking your husband about?
The constant fog makes our eyes very sharp, you see. That's why we can tell you for certain that it was the little Japanese man we saw. Can't we, darling?
What? Oh yeah. Is it cute? No mistake. The mustache, the hunchback, the cat-eye eyes, the top mouth, and the snub nose. Unmistakable, sir.
As far as this couple's testimony is concerned, there can't be any question. It was Soseki they saw running about the scene of the crime. I think I'm gonna be like, maybe like a half hour, and then I'm gonna stop. I hate to admit it, but I'm hearing the testimony sounds as though they saw what they saw. Playing an Undertale fan game, getting my ass kicked. Might play Ace Attorney instead. Ace Attorney games are a really good time. I've only played the Ace Attorney, I guess the very first Ace Attorney, and this one. So I still have plenty more to go, but I remember the first one being really awesome. That's true. Where does that leave us? The members of the jury are sure to call for the guilty verdict after this testimony. Oh no. Then what do we do? If Kazuma-san were here... What are you trying to say? I think he would try to find a contradiction in their testimony. What do you mean somewhere else? Their statement about seeing him is unequivocal. Calling that into question wouldn't help. But if you could identify some other part of the testimony which contradicts it, you might be able to discredit them, to make the jury doubt the pair's memory of that day is accurate. No, right. But simply, must focus on finding the discrepancy. If we don't, I'm afraid the trial may reach an early and unfavorable conclusion. Why do I always seem to be so up against it?
Mr. Lawyer, sir, can I ask something?
Oh, yes, of course. What is it?
Well, you keep asking us all these questions about everything we told you about, so... It seems like you don't believe our testimony. Is that right? Well, out with it.
What? No. Not really at all.
My husband's a policeman, I remember, and I know what I just saw. I remember every last detail, everything, like... Oh, I know. What about the books the man dropped? Could you tell the name of every single one? I could. Every single one. And do you dare to question how reliable my testimony is?
All three... the second game? I think I started trying to play that on my own time, but I think I'm just on like the first trial of Trials and Tribulations. Or at least that's like the American or Western name of it.
No, it won't do it all. That Japanese lawyer has no idea what I'm capable of. Even if I decide to forgive him for insulting us, I don't think for a minute that Rolly will.
I really didn't mean to cause offense. Please put your husband's fist down.
Perhaps you'd like the opportunity to supplement your testimony, Miss Pete. Might that appease you?
Oh, thank you, my lord. That will settle things nicely.
Oh no, the Great Ace Attorney. The main line got stuck in the turnabout. Big Top. I heard the turnabout Big Top one was notorious, but like, oh, the Great Ace Attorney, the second half of it. Oh, because what's it called? The prequel. My bad. That was a slip up on my end. They even tell you the names of the 4 books dropped at the scene.
Hold it!
Let's see. Yes, we know that there are books dropped at the scene, as you say. It was purchased by the accused. After all, I'd been a police box for help. I, well, decided to have a good look around the area. Proud of policeman's wife, after all. And what was your husband doing? This is just lying face down in the snow. Looks ever so hard, you know. Ever so hard, don't you, my darling? An interesting way of guarding the scene of the crime. Well, Miss Bates saying is you for guilds. Would you be so kind as to recount the titles? Let's see. I'd be happy to. Now are you all listening? There was the picture of the Monsieur somebody, and what's its yearnings. And there was a meal for someone, and the last one's definitely the thingamagum something. You see? Yes, I see there's 1 or 2 holes in your memory.
Oh, well, they were along the lines, I'm quite sure.
There were indeed books found at the scene with the titles along those lines, as you put it.
Oh, what did I tell you?
I think it was very mean what you were implying. Don't you agree, darling? Oh, he was mad.
Anyone who upsets my Patricia will have to answer to!
Oh. terrifying. Yes, she really is. So that was it. That's the entire testimony. Let's see. I guess it would be that very one of the, oh, I could know the names. Tell you the names of all 4 books. Let's see. They said 4 books. Let's see what this has.
Objection.
So, you're saying that there were 4 books?
That's right, I remember all of them. The picture of the Monsieur Somebody, the What's It Yearnings, a meal for someone, and the thingamagum something.
Narco to come, then Jojo to fight Patricia. Not working on the, what's it called? Rolly trigger happy tendencies. I'm sorry, Mrs. Beat. But there's a fundamental flaw in that statement of yours.
Oh no. What flaw?
Simply that at the scene of the crime, there are only 3 books.
What?
Have a good look at this photographic print. As you can clearly see, there's only 3 books.
But no, that can't be. I saw them. Oh, I know what it is. Yes, you can't fool me.
Sorry.
It's that big old lump of a dead boy. Lady so large, her corpse is blocking the view of the 4th book. That's all.
Let's at least try to remember that poor woman isn't dead. Even we're insulting her size. Rolly's just Patricia's stand. Be like, oh no, it's like, the stand is like just like the police. Be like, stand user Patricia, her stand the police. I'm sorry, Miss P. But Mr. Natsume could not possibly have dropped the 4 books you've described.
Why not?
Fascinating. From your assured tone, something could really substantiate with evidence, I suppose. Ah, evidence. Counsel, you present evidence to substantiate your claim. What proof do you have the accused did not drop the 4 books? Let's see. It would be this book receipt. There's like 3 books. Ya baka. I hope he explodes. He's so hateable. He's such a prick. It's just really fun to dunk on him because he's just so cocky and so full of himself when he's so wrong, like all the time. From your books. Yes. This receipt details Mr. Natsume's purchases that day, but as you can see, there's only 3 books listed.
No.
Therefore, Mr. Natsume could have only dropped 3 at the scene of the crime. Which means that your powers of observation, madam, can't be relied upon. So it cannot be denied that though you are saying the defendant you saw could very well be mistaken, because more wet cat later on, he's such a nerd.
Oh no. No.
No!
Objection!
It's plainly evident that your power of deduction cannot be relied upon, my fellow friend. Learned Nipponese friend.
What cannot be denied is that these 2 witnesses saw the accused running from the scene. A fact that you know very well that you have no hope of disproving.
So you striven to avert attention from that by a dint of some inconsequential discrepancies. Could that be fair? He's right through me. But your plan is somewhat recoiled against you. What are you talking about? It's quite simple. Let me explain with a toast. to the policeman's wife and her entirely accurate testimony in every respect.
Oh,
You see, the matter is not up for debate. The scene of the Briar Road, a total of 4 books were definitely.
Objection!
But what about the photographic print? It shows 3 books. Quite right. Only 3 that can be seen. But I have one entirely shoved up my own ass that I left at the scene of the crime. Allow me to present another, one that shows the victim's hand. I don't believe it. It's the 4th book. As you will observe. The 4th book was hidden from the view of the original print by the victim's torso. I presented unfactual evidence. I get drunk on the job, and I just deliberately keep out things so that I can try to dunk on you later on.
there, you see, look at that, look. This was the presence of my stand. Fuck the police.
I thought it was just the police.
Oh no, it's fuck the police, isn't that right, darling?
Oh, yes, sir. Patricia's right, sir. I'm named after the NWA song, Fuck the Police. Not the Sting band, the police.
Let us study the receipt of the books purchased by the accused on the day of question. Yeah, that book got burned. Misfeed the titles once again.
Oh yes, of course,
The picture of Monsieur Somebody. The picture of Monsieur Lecoq.
what's its yearnings?
Canterbury Yearnings.
A meal for someone?
A meal for Gabor. Oh damn, what's that Lecoq one about? As the court just heard, the witnesses remember the book titles flawlessly. Ms. Bates' powers can only be described as exceptional.
Did you hear that, Rolly? A gentleman paid me a compliment.
Yes, sir. Flawless, sir. Patricia's flawless. Oh, I love him too.
But there are only three books on the receipt, and Miss B mentioned 4. There's nothing surprising about that. Clearly the 4th one, which is shown in the print. I'm sorry, Counsel.
I'm sorry, Counsel. Does that seem odd? Why should the 4th one be omitted from the receipt?
Oh, that's a lion one! Mr. Gotrib loves the lions and the tigers and shit. It's not odd, my lord. This photograph clearly shows the 4th book was found in the victim's clutches. In other words, it belongs to the victim. The victim was holding her own book.
I wonder what became of that 4th book.
Obviously, it wasn't overlooked in the investigating officers. I have it here as evidence.
You will submit that in the photographic prints.
My pleasure. Yeah, gee, thanks for the evidence that you only just magically just popped out of your ass, dude. The prosecution rests. I have nothing further to add. Good, then shut the fuck up. You seem surprised, my learned friend, but your resistance until now has been in vain. Entertaining, yes, but futile. That horrid show. Why is burned book is not the book evidence. This spurred longer route of the accused lodging they tried to establish your summation, the attempted cross-examination. Futile. I walked into this, didn't I?
You see, everything we said is true. Isn't that right, my darling?
Yes, Pat. Marry me, Pat.
So perhaps the ladies and gentlemen of the jury would like to reconsider should the court waste more time on this Nepalese travesty. Or is the decision you have to make all too apparent already? You've heard all the witnesses and seen all the evidence. The trial has run its course. Mr. Naruhodo, I'm afraid we're in a terrible position. I know, but if I fight back the wrong way, it could make matters worse. Think, Naruhosuke, think. What do you know? I will raise an objection.
Objection.
I'm not done yet. I'm the #1 Jonator. No, my little friend, it's over. I'm trying to race the trial. I'm the winner. I win, you lose. Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up! The die has been cast. There's no room for debate. You shut your face. Well, might be over as far as you're concerned, but... Mr. Naruto, I love that name. Was a Mechanic character. He does look like an his hair kind of looks like the Demi Fiend a little bit from like SMT3 or Nocturne. That's definitely a Demi Fiend hair. If I may, Lord Van Zeeks, it seems somewhat boorish to close down the debate at this point. You insignificant Eastern Isle must be lawless home indeed. For lowly judicial assistants have the audacity to intervene. Oh. I am, to my shame, still a very inexperienced lawyer. This Demi-Fiend hair. So you'll have to forgive me, but I consider my assistant's advice essential and her opinions invaluable. Because if after losing, second crying his Batman volume isn't just racist, he's sexist too. Batman body pillow just being like, Batman, you understand. I'm the winner of the trial. I'm the one that closed out the case. It was because of my racism and sexism that I won. It usually works out for me. Losing, bro. Yeah, activate beast mode. He starts racing half the city, turning London into like a weird demonic space, which is just present day London. Man, SMT Nocturne, but in London would just be going to London. What we overlooked in this matter, you see. We'll to pursue further. Well, the court's been presented with new evidence, but only after the last cross-examination finished.
I see. You believe this new evidence warrants further examination?
Mr. Naruhodo, what do you think? It's just possible this new evidence might be the decisive proof we've been waiting for. One's been, oh hell bro, the UK is out there, the Brits are demons. You're like, that's why it's so overcast. Adelia's gonna morph. Of course Van Zeeks is going to morph. To examine the crucial evidence, must take the opportunity to examine this newly presented evidence as thoroughly as possible. Yes, I understand, and thank you, Miss Susato. This is it. We managed to get this far. Here's our last chance. I can't let it go to waste. The defense wishes to present the evidence. The Demi-Fiend is half British from Manchester. Goes Zeeking and Zeeks all over the court in Britain. Be like, Zeke is going to dance in the mirror to like poop the pants and have sex. Just like Matt Smith before him. Let's see, we are presenting that book. What's it called? Oh wait, we gotta examine. Sure, let's see. Yeah, look at that. Look at that little hunk. Look at that. Oh, look at this. The book has been badly burned. You're right. We never would have read it in this state, especially not in the latter pages. What a terrible waste. Judging from the scorched edges, I think the damage must have occurred recently. Zeke's gonna Zeke, so already Zeke's all of the Zeking worlds. Why does it seem like it raises a red flag for me? It's because, what's it called? Zeke do be Zekin. He's what's it called? Baroque Van Freaks. All right, we're presenting. The evidence in question is what we see from the newly presented photo. The fourth book found in the victim's hand. Van Freak. We have already discussed the fourth book at length. Other than being the victim's grasp, no significance has been attached to it. Pursuing the matter, flagrant race. Come on. Come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on. Let's... Shit, I clicked the wrong thing? What? No, no, no! Come on, no, no! Come on. I must insist that you elaborate, counsel. I will identify the court at once. Do I make myself clear? Yes. It's, Mr. Naruhodo, I believe the prosecution is trying to avoid a thorough examination of the evidence, which means it may well be on the right track. Van Freak is getting Van Freaky very quickly. Yes. Oh, it's because what's it called? He doesn't want to admit it. I presented the right evidence. There we go. Here we go. This guy. Wait, no. I already got through this. Come on, come on. Sorry, I gotta like skip through this. I've read this before. I've read this. I've read it. I've read it. Bro tried to smoke out of the book. It's like, these are where my rolling papers have been. I would ask the court to observe the back of the book in question.
The back? What do you... Good gracious. It's been burnt to a crisp.
So we have to ask ourselves why the victim was clutching it. What was clearly such an unreadable book. It's undeniably evidence that these were used as rolling papers.
Objection!
Unnatural, you say? And what of it, my Nipponese friend? Plenty of people use their books for rolling papers in the glorious nation of England. Right to concede at this point, it bears no relation, there's nothing to discuss. You wish to assert the fire damage, I'm going to zeke all over this courtroom. You pray to enlighten us. What truth does this hide?
Big bloods on the Bible, he did. There's just one possibility here, which I can't bring myself to rule out. It's an outside chance, but it's worth a try. Alright, I'll explain my theory.
Do keep us waiting, counsel. What are you suggesting you can ascertain from the fire damage?
It is, what's it called? Its owner. The person that wanted to have the holy puff. My lord, the burn on the back reveals the startling truth about the book's owner.
I beg your pardon?
But we already know who the book belongs to. The victim was gripping in her hands, and she fell on the floor after all. It's obviously hers.
The question of how this book came about to be in the victim's hands is yet to be answered. However, as to the questions of whose the book really belongs to and where it originated from, the defense has a very credible answer.
Good gracious, how can you possibly...
Very well, I'll play along with your futile attempt to delay your inevitable demise, because I will kill you in court with violence. Do you remember the victims of the jury may burn you if your little gamble goes awry?
So you really did kill him.
Events is really likely to influence the final outcome. Tell the court who claimed the out of the burnt crispies.
Let's see. It's someone who very much had... Is this dude? He had a lot of books. He loved a lot of lions. I'm probably going to end stream in 10 minutes, but I at least want to get this through. Until that very last one.
Take that!
The answer. The book belongs to the couple who owns the house where the defendant has his lodgings. A certain Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb. The landlords. And whether this is some extraordinary coincidence or some kind of fate at work, I don't know. But all the people in London, one of the 6 chosen for jury duty in the courtroom today, is none other Mrs. Garrideb herself.
Oh my goodness. Me? I think you must be mistaken, sir. I'm not Mrs. Garrideb's wife. I'm his maid.
Things would be so much easier if you would just drop the pretense. Alright then, how about a simple question for you? Have you ever seen the book in Mr. Garrideb's house?
I would never presume to know all the books he keeps, sir.
Objection!
I will not be outzeeked by your behavior. This outlandish behavior. This woman is the accused landlady, you say? You implicate a hard-working member of the public. You disperse her without a shred of evidence. Your actions are unforgivable.
This is not mere conjecture. The defense happens to know that on the day of question, the almost exact same time the victim was stabbed on the pavement below, another incident was taking place in the room of the top floor of Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb's house.
Good lord, what sort of incident, counsel?
Backbreaking sex, my lord. Also a fire.
Afraid not it was. Happened at the blink of an eye. The whole place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bally thing. Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. The bally furniture started going up as well. Worst of it, I lost my favorite, a book called Lion's Pride.
Oh, look how salty he looks.
Point! Point and laugh!
The Lion's Pride.
By Jove, the very same title, the subject of this debate.
The backbreaking sex. We have to repeat the shit out of John Garrideb. Man, it's like... it's like the hate kind.
Oh dear me.
This is risible. All you told the court was that a book by the same name was involved in a fire.
In that case,
It would be reasonable to assume it was burnt to ashes.
the salty whole drink of pickle brine took damage from it.
It's entirely unreasonable to infer that it magically removed itself from the scene of the crime.
Perhaps it would make more sense. John is hot showed his team. If I told you that the cause of the fire was marital discord. Without going into details, it appears that Mrs. Garrideb was considerably enraged in the process of beating her husband amid the flames.
Oh, how awful. I can't even imagine being so horrid to the one you love. Can you, Rolly?
Absolutely not, sir. My jurist will never raise a finger against Miss High. We don't live in an abusive household like the Garridebs.
Had all my favorite old novels in this case, but as soon as the fire got hold of them, whoosh, up in smoke. Then the wife started hurling things at me. There I was, backed up against the wall under heavy fire. Incendiary books, 10 to the dozen.
Bro's definitely on a leash. The man had his back up against the wall, and now he had burning books thrown at him. I'll never forgive the British. How did the victim get the book? I guess maybe because he kept throwing him out the window. What's it called? She did the aim on thing of like throwing away all the gifts.
The book was thrown through the window and landed coincidentally at the scene of the crime.
Objection!
No, a thorough investigation of the surrounding area was conducted the very evening of the incident, and there's no report of the Garrideb's window pane being broken.
I have a bad leg, couldn't have escaped. It's quite true, we saw no signs of broken glass when we visited the Garrideb's household. but it's not conceivable that the window was open at the time.
Not even remotely. Let us not forget the season, the chilling weather that accompanies it. No Londoner would leave the window open in the middle of winter.
Well, if there's smoke everywhere, so they don't suffocate from the smoke.
Does the events postulate the scene's seriousness? Do you honestly claim the book was found at the scene was a flaming projectile?
I mean, yeah. Duh, my lord.
It's quite enough.
Oh.
Well, I hope that everyone can see you for what you are, you little foreign trickster. You call yourself a lawyer, but you're only just a coward. A mean coward.
Really?
Claiming our little tiff set the whole neighbor alight. Honestly, implying I'm merely imposed as a maid for appearance sake. How could you? It's nothing to do with the beastly ghast. All you do is sully our family name.
No, I assure you not. It was never my intention.
Dragging an upstanding citizen's name through the mud to divenge for your failing defense. I should box your ears. It's unforgivable.
Too right. Not the dick rider. It's bad enough that the racist abuser is after me, but now the dick rider is here.
How long must we stand now, facing this Nippon spouting his fancy foreign theories? But think about it. At the end of the day, the only person who could have possibly stabbed the victim is a little hunchback with a nose he ran from the scene.
I do declare you're right. It's true. It's what I tell you.
Makes sense to me.
Oh, sorry, what is it?
Well, it would appear the ladies and gentlemen of the jury are in full agreement.
It's bullshit. What's your position, Lord Van Zieks? In truth, my lord, I faked it until I made it. One must always exercise patience to savor the best vintage. No, wait! The mystery of the fourth book still hasn't been... I spread my legs. I'm goat-seeing in your disgrace. If the books are my predilection, my learned friend, study them on your own time. I am getting drunk. That is why my decision skills aren't the best this time. I'm gonna rush the trial until I win. What? No forgive the discourtesy this time. Cover your legs, slut. Let's see. You will now state your individual decisions.
Guilty.
You rat bastards. You fickle little fuckers don't say all innocent, but y'all always say all guilty. I have to finish the trial until I get an all innocent. Man, you guys are the worst. That's twice now. It's over. Mr. Naruhodo, don't give up. Miss Susato, have you forgotten? The battle isn't over yet. You're not suggesting. Of course. The defense has the right to another summation exam by this point. You could still convince the jurors to change their mind. You have one more chance. My lord, the defense asks to have the summation exam again.
Stupid laws. You believe you still have tricks on your sleeve.
I don't intend to trick anybody. Spam summation until I win. I intend to uncover the truth. Your British law is really stupid because I keep on just doing these exams until the jury just decides to be right with me. It'll be the real strat. There's no time to be downcast. As long as there's a chance, I have to stay strong and determined. Alright. I think... Oh! Already to be continued. Nice. This is actually a good place for me to stop at the moment. Oh man, it's been so long. I'm super tired. Alright. Mr. Gyarados, let's do trial part 2. There we go. Save complete. All right. Like, it's probably the first pause I can get. I'll probably try to keep saving and keep quitting. Let's see. Choo choo choo. Bop bop bop. There we go. One more time because I'm paranoid. Actually, maybe the second to last time because I'm paranoid. Yeah, one more time. We gotta keep going. Yes. Yeah, I feel like it's definitely like that with me when I'm playing like horror games. I'm like, I have to save this 50 times just so I'd be able to understand. I was so invested. I can't wait for the next stream. Yeah, it's gonna be really exciting. I'm also like really tempted to just kind of like keep going, but I know it's getting super late. Next Thursday around 6, hopefully either 6 or 6:30. I'm gonna try to set it as much in stone as possible so it's a little easier to catch up on. But Thursday 6:30, like maybe leaning on 6 just so I have more time. Like I'm gonna try to be able to get to the remain. I guess at least mostly the remains, or if not a little bit more into Chapter 4's trial. But just checking to put my alarms for work. Interviews like 10 times before I'm able to sleep. Yeah, I feel like it's always like I usually put on so many alarms before work just so I can stop myself and be like, oh yeah, this is the point where I make coffee. This is the point where I go to this is the point where I wake up. This is the point where I like make my food. This is the point where like I have to log in. Gotta rest and not ruin your voice too. I feel like the tea does a really good job, but it's definitely something where in some of the days it's gotten really intense. I think during the Gyaradev ones when he had the tea poured on him, I like the first time I screamed, it was like like those weird like kind of like hyper pop albums or like heavy metal where it's like I was really shocked to hear myself. I was like, oh man, I must have blew out my voice. I think by the time I start doing the Sherlock ones, I'm like, I did become 100 gex with the, what's it called? The money machine. The stay so clean like a money machine cadence when like Mr. Gyaradev got tea poured on his crotch. Man, but man, it really sucks. I feel like I want to keep like being here, but I know I'm about to fall apart. But thank you all so much for coming along. I'm definitely gonna keep going. I'm gonna definitely keep sticking through with it. I have such a good time with Ace Attorney. I'll see you all soon. And just for one last thing, I am an alien from the behind the stars. At the daytime, I run a cafe, but over here, this is my the time I moonlight as a DJ host, a radio talk show guy. And through my beauty mark, I'm able to transmit so many positive thoughts. Where I poke my beauty mark, I poke the microphone, and I'm able to boost out confidence. Now, wherever anybody can hear, just so that you'll be able to have joy and happiness towards whichever next stream you have. There's plenty of people streaming at the moment, so it'll be really exciting to be able to go into them with a very nice, very positive, do-good attitude. But I'll see you all soon. Bye.